Hey guys, it's Katie and I'm back. Semi-officially, but mostly officially. So I figured that since I've been gone for several months, you guys have just gotten all these pre-scheduled and pre-uploaded videos and whatnot, that I'd give you a little bit of an update, tell you where I've been and just my general life, and then kind of jump into kind of my plans and some of the things that I'm planning on doing in the coming weeks, months, whatever. So, first of all, for those of you who don't know where I was, what I was doing, and everything, I was a law student and I graduated at the end of May, and then I was preparing for this big exam called the bar exam. And basically, what the bar exam is, for those of you guys who are international or just don't know, is it is the exam that all law students have to take if you want to get your law license so you can practice, like go to court and represent clients and things. Because he was not taking the bar exam, like I'd still be a lawyer. Like a lawyer does not need to have the license to do things. Just having a law degree makes you a lawyer. But getting the degree makes me an attorney, which means that I can practice and represent clients and things. So right now I'm playing the waiting game. I'm exhausted because it's just been a long, like 3 months, 3+ months, and it was a really stressful process and a really anxious process. I've talked to a couple of you guys regularly while I was gone, over like in DMs or wherever, and you guys got my stress and anxiety kind of firsthand, and I want to thank you guys for listening to me and being there for me, but I also want to apologize because I know that probably was a lot to experience. So yeah, thanks to you guys who were there for me. You know who you are. I really, really appreciate you being there for me during that period of time, and just like always, honestly, like it means a lot to me that you guys are there and willing to talk to me, and just I'm so glad I have you guys as friends. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. Like that's literally pretty much all I've done in the last couple of months. Oh, also, I don't know, it's just I've been going through a lot of other life changes as well. Like we and my family like changed our diet for me because if you guys don't know, I've had migraines since I was 3, and I've tried everything under the sun, but something I hadn't tried for several years, I think since I was about 8 or 9, was changing my diet. And so we are trying that. So far, so good. I'm noticing a difference in just my overall well-being. So let's see if that works. And I mean, I would love for it to not be a permanent life change, but I think it might have to be. And in which case, there are a lot of things I can no longer eat or can only eat in small quantities. So that's been interesting. But I don't know, as I said, I am noticing some kind of difference in my overall health. So maybe it'll be good. But yeah, then I've just had a lot of like other stress things and life changes going on. But like those are the big things that have been going on. And then 4 days of testing, because if you guys don't know, like I am different than everyone else because I need like extended time and like certain accommodations because of all of my disabilities and things. So my testing was 4 days instead of 2, and I tested for 24 hours total. So that was great. But I mean, no, that's a lie. Everyone else is 12 hours only. I was 24, so that's fine. So yeah, I'm just like out of it. But you know, what else is new? But just kind of moving on to kind of what's going to be happening in the coming little while. Now, for the majority of August, I'm going to be home and I'm going to be doing some major decluttering and reorganizing of stuff. This room that I'm in right now, it's called the playroom, is a hot, messy disaster. And I did start a few things back in May because I had like a 2-week period between my second final and my last final. It was not great. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I hated having an exam on the first day and then an exam on the last day. Like, it was just terrible. But I did start going through the books, and I will have a like video vlog upload some, and I will have some kind of like, I don't know what to call it. It's not really a vlog, but like I'm gonna call it some kind of weird unhaul vlog thing, because it's kind of what it is, because I'm in different locations and I'm just going through everything. It was a lot. But so I did that, but I feel like I need to do it again, because I feel like I could either see, what we're doing is we're doing two different things. So I got rid of 18 boxes of books. There are still some over there in the corner that need to leave, but we haven't managed to do it yet because everything's just been super chaotic. But then I have about 10 boxes over there, and that's not including every single book that we own in the house, because we have my dad's library, and then we have the cookbooks downstairs, and my mom has a few in her office, and I have a few in my bedroom. But the majority of what we have are in those 10 boxes over there, and I feel like I need to go through them again and just kind of do a better job this time. I need to call some things out, because let me tell you, and I was talking to someone about this a couple of weeks ago, there are a couple of books in there that I haven't read ever, and I've had them since I was like 11, and is, a feat. And I kept some of them thinking, that I might read them at some point, and I may, but there are some that I kept, and my reasoning was like, oh, nostalgia. And I'm just now sitting here like, what nostalgia? You haven't read it yet, or at all. Why are you keeping this book that you're probably never going to read? The dilemmas of my life. So I feel like I need to go through them again, and then while I'm going through them, inventory them properly. So I'm probably going to make a list of everything in the house, not just those 10 boxes and the ones in my room, but like go through everything, just so I have an inventory of what we have, so I don't have to like get them or whatever. Because right now, I feel like I don't even know what we own. Like, I know we have like 5 copies of The Lord of the Rings, and like 3 different copies of the Harry Potter books. Like, it's just, we have a lot of multiples, a lot of duplicates, and just, it's a hot mess. And I have my shelf from my apartment here, and I'm hoping that I can also kind of figure out how many other shelves we're going to actually need, because we don't have a lot of shelving right now. We had these like plastic garbage shelves that were like not great. I hated them. So honestly, I just feel like when I go through that shelf, and then I have a few other shelves over there that I'm toying with some ideas for, like I got this whole thing planned out, like for when we move. Like, I know generally what shelf I want to use for what type of thing, and how many more approximately I think we're gonna need, but we'll see, because we have a lot of stuff, a lot of books, and as I've said maybe in a couple of other videos, our library is pretty much shared amongst the 3 of us, and my grandma sometimes too. She has a smaller library at her house, and then she also utilizes the library more, but she also reads very different things from me and my mom. And our library, like, is great for some things, like nonfiction and thrillers and things of that ilk, but it's not great for other things for some reason. Like, they have things, but they're weirdly limited, and I don't know. Just, our library is strange, and I'm not loving it, but I think I might start using it for certain books. Like, there are a few graphic novels that are on my my TBR, and there are quite a few like nonfiction biographies that I don't want to go out and buy because they're like giant, and I prefer to read those in physical form. I've kind of figured that out recently. So if I can get them at the library, I'm definitely going to do that. I've actually created a new shelf on Goodreads for like library maybe, because I don't know if they'll have it yet. I have to do a little bit more digging into that. But ultimately, that's something I want to give a try to. So ultimately, I do want to check out some of those things from the library in my area. Despite it not being the greatest, I think they probably have several of them. Definitely they'd have the biographies. Like, I know that they'd have the biographies, but I'm not so sure about some of the graphic novels. But that's something to look into now that I have a little bit more time and I'm like home now and not floating around to 500 different places. So I'm really looking forward to like delving into the decluttering thing. Like, just our whole house needs a thing, but like my main priority is honestly the books. My parents know that. They're resistant in some ways, but I'm like, no. I am the keeper of the books. This is the way that this is gonna happen. You can do whatever you want with anything else, but this is my thing. Okay, don't talk to me. So that'll be something that's happening this month at some point. But also, I get to jump back into reading now. I'm so excited. Like, you don't understand. I have been dying to read things for months. Like, the last thing I read was back in mid-May, and it was arguably my favorite book of the year, honestly. So I mean, like, I was okay for the first couple of weeks or so because I was still dealing with the book hangover that I was having from that book. It's Red, White, and Royal Blue, by the way, in case you didn't know. It's very off-brand for me, but like, I loved that book so much. But as I said, I haven't read any physical books since mid-May. I've done a little fanfic things because they're short and I can generally squeeze them in wherever, here and there, because I watched Good Omens. That is definitely something that I did. I'm also in the process of rewatching it so my parents can get introduced to all of the shenanigans. I've watched 2 episodes so far, and they're liking it, which I am happy about because, yes, please. But now that I can get back into reading, my original plan was to just do something light and fluffy and not overburden myself. Because, you know, I am a mood reader by nature, and I haven't gotten to do that for over 3 years at this point. It's kind of ridiculous how long I haven't been able to do the mood reading situation. And so what I'm doing instead is I'm participating in a couple of readathons. I wasn't originally going to do this. Like, this is totally spontaneous, last second kind of thing. And I'm doing it for a couple of reasons. One, the readathons like are fun, and I've wanted to do some. Like, I really wanted to do the Book Junkie trials this year. After I heard about it, I was like, why is this happening in July? I was so upset. I was like, you couldn't wait until like August, because then I could probably do it, but oh well. So I'm definitely going to do that next year. I always end newts next year because that was just not going to work for this year. Like, I was in school, like, bombarded by everything during the owls, and the newts were just happening right after I finished, and I didn't want to be part of something so large and so big right away. So the 3 that I picked are pretty chill readathons, and they don't involve group books. I don't love group books. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, when it comes to readathons and people like the group book, I'm like, no, I just zone out. I can't. If I don't have it, or if I have no interest in it, and they put a group book in there, like, I feel obligated, like I have to read it, and I feel guilty if I don't want to read it or don't have it or anything, because I just don't have any interest in it. So I just don't like doing that. And also, none of these are week long. Like, I'm so happy that none of these are week long readathons, because that's just not long enough either. And yet, the irony of that whole thing is that I'm doing one of the readathons I'm doing is a 24-hour readathon. What are you doing, Katie? But like, it's a chill 24-hour readathon. Like, there are no challenges, it's just super relaxed. But anyway, I'm doing 3 readathons primarily because I realized how stressed out I was about feeling like I had to like jump to mood reading right away, because I was just like, oh, I want to read this. But like 2 days later, I'd be like, oh, wait, no, I want to read that instead. And I was like trying to plan out what the first book that I wanted to read when I got done with bar things was gonna be, and I was just like super stressed that I kept changing my mind. It was like, but like, what do I want to read? What do I want to read? And like, I even asked some of my friends, and like, they gave me suggestions. So I was like, oh, that sounds great, I'm gonna do that. And I'm just scrapping a lot of it. And I'm doing these 3 readathons, and I'm also doing a buddy read. And I'm gonna kind of ease into it, because it's like, these are things I wanted to read and I plan to read at like some point this year anyway, and or in the near future. And it was just gonna kind of work out with all of the things that are going on. So as I said, I'm doing 3 readathons and then a buddy read. So let me just tell you briefly about each of them. So one of them is called the Classicsathon, and I'll link all the information from the creator down below. It's a month-long readathon, and the only challenge there is to read a classic sometime in the month of August. And it's just a really relaxed readathon, because what she really is trying to promote is just to introduce people to classics. It's for anybody who wants to participate, whether you're a beginner and you've never read a classic before, or if you are, well versed in classic literature. And I try to read a handful of classics every year. But this year was going to be weird, so I only really put one on my list for this year, and that's Emma by Jane Austen. And that's the book that I'm planning on reading for Classicsathon. It's pretty chunky, but I have a feeling I'm going to fly through it, because just the premise sounds interesting. I know a little bit about it, and I'm just really excited to read it. I really like Jane Austen, and I think I'm gonna try and do like one of her books a year or something. We'll see if that actually happens or works out that way. But so far, for Jane Austen, I have read Pride and Prejudice all the way back in high school. I'm due for a reread, like very, very desperately. I remembered really, really loving it. And then last year I read Persuasion. I also loved that. So now next up is Emma, and I'm really excited about it, because just the blurb on the back, I have a feeling I'm going to really relate to Emma in several ways. So that's the book that I'm reading for the Classicsathon. And then the second readathon I'm taking part of is called the Basically 24-Hour Readathon, and that's put on by Brit over at Basically Brit. And that takes place on August 18th, I believe, and it's from midnight to midnight. One challenge that she's putting up is just to read a book that's been on your TBR for a really long time. And I have a lot of books that I could have picked for this, but ultimately I am going to pick, well, Emma has been on my TBR since high school, so I'm probably going to read a large chunk of that on that day. But I'm also going to do the third book of the Kane Chronicles trilogy series thing from by Rick Riordan. It's part of his whole mythology middle grades series thing. And in case you're wondering, I haven't read the first 2 yet, but we'll get there. But I feel like those 2 will be enough to keep me satisfied for the 24-hour readathon. I'm going to put a caveat on it, though. I am not going to be reading for 24 hours. 1, I can't do that. 2, I can't sit still for that long. And 3, I have a lot of other things that are going on in the house. So I'm going to read as much as I can, but it won't be the only thing that I do that day. So we'll see how that goes, because I think Britt said you don't have to read the whole day. As long as you do some reading, you're fine. And that's probably what I'm going to do, because I am going to need, I need and want sleep. But also, I don't know, we'll see. And then the third and final readathon that I'm taking part in this month is called the Myth Take Readathon. There's actually a Myth Take book club, and I only found out about that fairly recently, and I totally would 100% take part in that. But right now it's just a little bit chaotic, and I'm still kind of coming down from things, but I might start looking into that a little bit more, and maybe picking up more things like that, because they read I think fantasy-based mythology retellings, which is 125% my jam. If you don't know that about me, hi, I'm Katie. But they are doing a readathon from August 5th to the 18th. And they have this whole bingo card, and I think it's your main, it's really relaxed, but each bingo dot is worth 10 points, and the ultimate goal, if you want to quote win the readathon, is to get up to 50 points. You don't have to read all 9 to get there, but you can also have one book meet 3 of the challenges, and only 3 and only one book. So yeah, basically what I'm doing is I'm going to be reading 3 books for the Myth Take, and one of them will be for 3, so then ultimately I'll get my 50 points. And before I launch into what I'm reading, these are the challenges that they've put up. So one is read a book over 400 pages. Second is read a host recommendation. Third is read a book with an animal on the cover. Read a book with green or yellow on the cover. Then read the book of the month. Then challenge 6 is read a book written by a woman. 7th, read a book written by a POC. 8, read a book with Asian influence. And finally, number 9 is read a mythology retelling. So what I'm doing is I'm reading, the first book that I'm reading is the first book of the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan, and that will be satisfying the challenge for read a book over 400 pages, because I believe, depending on the edition, it's somewhere in the 500-page range. Then the second book I will be reading for the readathon is the Kane Chronicles Book 2, also by Rick Riordan, and that will be satisfying the challenge to read a mythology retelling, because pretty much what he does is he basically takes different myths from different cultures and kind of puts a different spin on them with younger characters, and it's kind of a retelling. I don't know. I think it's cool. We'll see if it works. And then the third and final book that I am reading for the readathon is The Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. And for that book, that's going to be the one that satisfies 3 challenges. So that will be a book that has an animal on the cover, has a crane on the cover of the book. Second, it has Asian influence. It's based on Asian mythology and Asian culture. And then finally, it was written by a woman author, so that'll satisfy the written by a woman challenge. And so that will get me up to 50 points, and hopefully I can manage to read those over a 2-week period, but I think I could probably get through them pretty quickly, because I've got I think 2 500 books by Rick Riordan, which are going to be pretty quick reading if his Percy Jackson and the Olympian series is anything to go by. And then second, The Descendant of the Crane is 400 page-ish range, and I should hopefully get through that quickly, but we'll see. I'm going to be really chill about it and not freak out, because I have a feeling I'm gonna try not to put too much pressure on myself to get them all done within the time period, but who knows, we'll see what happens. And then finally, I'm going to do a buddy read with Kara over at Wild Book Garden. She's taking part in a bunch of different readathons, but one of them she's doing is the Newts, and she's reading a book that's been on my shelf for a while, and I know that it was picked out for her earlier this year, and I figured, why not have a friend read it? Because I'm like feeling a bit wary about reading this book because of what it's about, because it's something that I love a whole lot. So I wanted someone to read it with, so I just like, hey Kara, want to read this? She's like, yeah, sure. And we're reading A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. If you guys don't know, this book is Rocky from Blonde with the Book's like favorite series. Brittany Cavallaro is one of her favorite authors, and she just tries to spread the love with everybody. But I adore everything Sherlock Holmes. Like, and the wonderful thing about that particular fandom and that particular story, and like the all of the things that ACD created, is that it's like over 100 years old. So like there have been so many retellings over the years about Sherlock Holmes, and so many different variations and interpretations on the characters and everything. But this is like one of the few that'll be male and female, so it's Jamie Watson and Sherlock Holmes, and I haven't seen too many retellings where it's different genders for those two characters, and so I'll be interested to see what I think of it, and also just, I don't know, I know I'm probably going to love the school aspect because like I tend to like stuff like that, but we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also treading very carefully. So that's like a general life update, just a brief recap. Took the bar, finished the bar, have died, am still dead, and participating in 3 readathons instead of just like easing into reading like I wanted to. So doing a buddy read while also simultaneously cleaning and decluttering the house. It's gonna be a busy month. And I'm hopefully going to try something new while going through this month. I'm going to try vlogging the whole month. If you guys don't remember, this is like an experimental year for me, so I really want to try this out to see how it goes, because it might be something I potentially continue doing throughout the year. So yeah, that's something you can also look forward to as well. I was originally going to wait till November to do it, but like I want to do it now, so we're going to try it now and see how it goes. But anyway, that's about all I've got for you guys today. As always, you guys know the drill. I have all of my social media links down below in the description. I have my Twitter, which is @ACDtomes, which is the same as my handle here. I also have a Goodreads, which you guys can also find down below, and you can go over there and follow me and see what I'm reading and track my progress and see my general superficial thoughts on things before I come scream at you about them over here. I also have my ships and fandoms link down below because a couple of you have expressed interest in seeing that. But other than that, I'll catch you later in another video for you guys again soon.